So let's jump into creating some wall type schedules and kind of detailing our walls so that a builder will know what we want built when we show our floor plan. So one of the first things we can do is we can get into our floor plan. In an annotate, there is a tag. So if you go to annotate tab and kind of in the middle, a little bit towards the right, there's a tag by category. And so you can select that. And so basically it'll let you tag any element that you have a tag for. So you don't have to tag a specific thing. It lets you tag whatever, a door tag, a wall tag, anything that you've got a tag loaded for. The other option is tag all, and you can select all the doors or walls in the view. So what we'll do is we'll just do tag by category, and we'll tag this our exterior wall. So if you hover over the wall, it'll place this tag. If it places it kind of sideways, you can see the question mark here that it's sideways. So if you hit the space bar, it will make it vertical, at least on your view. And so you can see here over on your properties palette, if you have that open, you can see that it changes the horizontal and vertical orientation when you hitting spacebar, or you could manually change it. And then you can drag it and it's attached to the wall. The other option is you have attached end or free end. If you have free end, you can move it away from the wall, but it's not attached any longer. It's still associated to this wall, it just doesn't attach the leader. And you can also turn off the leader if you didn't want the leader on there. For this, we'll have a leader and have it attached. So right now it doesn't say anything, and that's because the tag is reading the type mark of the wall. So if you select the wall and go into edit type, and on the bottom under the identity data is a type mark. And let's just call our exterior walls A. So we'll just call it wall type A. And then it fills in that tag now. So now if we were to go up here, hit tag, and tag any other walls, you can hit spacebar before you select it to toggle the orientation. And see now it recognizes that this wall type is a type A wall type. And so we could go through and tag all of our exterior walls with the wall tag, and it'll put that information in automatically for us. And you can move it anywhere because it's connected to the wall, so it's kind of connected so that the leader will always stay within that wall plane. If it's off of the wall, as you can see, you can just grab the little grip and bring the grip over so that it's actually calling out the wall type that you want. I don't want to do that. I just want it to be normal because I've got room here for the wall type. And I might tag both sides just so that they know this is the same wall, but it is the same wall. So you can go all the way around and tag your exterior walls. This one, I am going to use that little offset. And then, yeah, I can, for this wall, because it's on an angle, I'm going to line it up on top of this other wall type and just bring the leader over here. Although I don't like that, it looks kind of funky. You could bring the leader inside so it looks a little bit better. If you toggle this up here at the top, there's the thin lines. You could see the actual thickness of this line if it has. And right now it's probably set to 1 thickness. You can change the end. So if you wanted it to be an arrow instead, just like most other things, you can select it, hit edit type, and then change it to a leader if you want. So I can change it to arrow filled 20 degrees, and I can even change the tag size. So, and actually I like that better, that smaller tag. So to change all of these, I'm going to select one of these bigger tags, select all instances in view, and change it to this 1/4 inch tag. And see the arrow went away because I changed it to be arrow on the 1/2 inch tag. So I can go in here, edit, and then give it that 20 degrees filled arrow. So now both of these will have the arrow on it. And as you can see, I probably fit this tag in a little bit easier now that it's much smaller. So I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to go back up here to tag by category. The only problem with that is that it doesn't give you an option to change which one you use for default, at least not that I know of. So one thing we could do, so the default one could be that that tag, the smaller 1/4 inch tag, is select this, make this 1/2 inch. We could just rename this to 1/4 inch tag and make this 1/4 inch dimension here. So we want 0.25. And now when we go to tag a wall, it'll automatically be that smaller tag. All right, so now that tag doesn't mean anything if we don't have a legend or something that tells them what that is. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go up here to view, and we'll go to legends, and we'll create a legend. And then we'll just call it wall types. And I'm going to change it to, let's change it to 3 inches equals a foot, and we'll see how that looks. So it'll create a blank, it's not a sheet, it's a legend. And so now you can go to annotate. So click the annotate tab up top. And then kind of towards the middle on the left is where we can place a legend component, a repeating detail component, or a detail component. And we'll place a legend component. So select legend component, and then you'll see this drop down up here, and it will give you 3 options. Option to choose pretty much any family that's in the model. So for us, we'd want to pick whatever our exterior wall is. We'd want to pick their floor plan or section. I want to do a plan, and then we can give it a length. So if we don't want it to be that long, or if we want it to make it longer, we can change the length here. And then so there is our wall. This should be tied to the wall that we're using in our plan. So here, if you select it, you can see which view it is. You can change the length, and you could change the coarseness to, if you wanted it to be different from what your legend is, you could change it to be a different detail level, but I'm just going to have it be the same as the view. And then here you could change it to be whatever other wall you want to use. So what I'm going to do, and I don't think you can tag this in this view either. That would be nice. But yeah, you can't tag it. But we know that it is going to be a wall type. So we can copy up another one. And then we can select one of our interior walls. Or if we have another exterior wall, we could choose that. So in this one, I'm going to just delete that. And I'm going to place a new detail component, or legend component. And I want it to be this into your 2x4 wood stud wall. And then I can place another one to be the 2x6 wood stud wall. Now if we also go into annotate, we can go into our text. And so here we can set our text up. So it's going to have default 1/4 inch Arial and 3/32 Arial. We'd want to use 3/32 Arial. And before you place text, go ahead and hit edit type. And let's change the arrow. About in the middle is the leader arrow type. When it has a leader, I want it to be the 20 degree filled. Here's the border offset. So if you've got a border or masking on it, this is how far it'll offset. This is a checkbox for showing the border, and the background is opaque, so it will mask out whatever's behind it. Here's the default line weight color, or the line weight thickness, and then font, text size, tab size. So when you tab inside of the text, it'll be a 1/2 inch tab. And you can change your bold, italic, underline, and width factor. So we'll hit OK. And then before you place your text, up here at the top, you have the option for no leader, a 2-segment leader, 1-segment leader, and an arced leader or curved leader. And then here is the orientation for where it is located on the text, at the bottom, left, right, or middle. And here's also the alignment for top, left or right, or centered alignment. So I'm going to then I'm just going to place this leader here. And the text is really small, so maybe 3 inches is too small. Let's try 1 inch. Before we go too much further, I'm going to close this wall, type legend. I'm going to create a sheet. So I'll go over to view, sheet, new, and let me see here. If I'm looking at page 80 of our book, it has 1 for plans, 2 for elevations, 3 for sections. Large scale views is 4, details, schedules, and diagrams are 6, and details are 5. So I think we could either place it on 5 or 6. I'm going to make this sheet A500 and call it wall types. Now that we created our legend, we closed it, but to find it again, obviously you go to the project browser, and then down here at the bottom, it's not going to be a view. It's going to be categorized under legends. And so we can just like the other, just drag it onto the sheet. And now we've got our wall types on the sheet here. So now we can kind of start setting them up in reference to our view. If you wanted to, you could draw so let's just do that. Let's just draw some detail lines. We go to annotate, detail line, and we can just draw a rectangle that's 24 by 36, the same size as our sheet. And let's see, we activate the view, and we go to move. Yeah, we can't snap onto that. That's unfortunate. But at least it'll give us an idea of where our details are at in the views. So let me get out of here. Yeah, it's just not recognizing that. That's okay. It'll just give us a rough idea of where to place our details. And we can delete those again. The nice thing about using the legend view, or making a legend, is that this is actually what our wall type looks like. So if we were to change it, open up my floor plan again, toggle views. If I were to go in here and edit type and add another layer, oops, tell me it doesn't like the structural layer. I just added a layer that's 1 foot on the outside, or on the inside actually, on the interior side. And that should automatically update this this wall type legend. Sure, I'm going to undo so I don't care. I just want to show you that it will update. It will update theoretically. Just make sure I've got the correct wall type selected. Exterior 6-inch wood stud wall with lap siding. Oops, there we go. So I must have created another wall type at some point. So now I'll do that again. Edit type. Let's add a layer on the interior that's, we'll make it much less, a lot less wide. Hit OK. Make sure to change it to a layer that it's okay with. Just made it finish 2. And then now it changed our wall type. So that means that we wouldn't have to go back here and update it if we updated the wall. And so the next thing we would need to do is we need to label our wall that we made. Okay. Here, let me move the cat. Oh gosh, let go. So we could call this 2 by 6 at 16 inches on center. We'd want to call this 1/2-inch plywood. So the X, the 2 by, the X should be lowercase even if we are using the all uppercase. Sorry about that. Had a little catastrophe. And so to enter into the text, you just need to select it and then select it again to enter into edit it. And so we'll call this 1/2-inch plywood sheeting. And you can use the little grips to resize your text. And we'll call this 6-inch lap siding. It's good to keep all of your leaders in line. If you move your leaders and your text, they will automatically snap to each other. And so you want to keep them kind of tight to each other. So there's not too much space, but not so tight that you can't see, or they kind of blend together. And let's add another leader. We go up to annotate, text, make sure our leaders are set correctly, and we'll just call this 1/2 inch sheathing. As you can see, as I drag the leader back, it's going to automatically lock to the other leaders that we had, and we'll call that 1/2 inch GWB, which is gypsum wallboard. The next thing we need to do is show the wall type indicator so that they know that this wall type is A. And let's see how we can do that. We try to see if there's a component, but I'm thinking that it might not be in here. Yeah, I don't think they have any of the annotations in here because they're trying to do like a floor plan view. So it doesn't look like they do. Let's see if we have them in the symbol. And I do. Oh, it's really small though. Let's try this. Maybe our inch is 2. Oh, let's try this. What if we make this our 1/4 inch tag, our 1/2 inch tag, and our text is too small, I think. So let us do something different for this tag. I'm going to change this one back while we're here. Oops, did I mess everything up? Nope, I just need to make sure and change all of these. So select all instances in view and make them the 1/4 inch tag. So let's make just a down and dirty, just a notation here for the wall tag. So I'm going to change it to a larger text. I don't want a leader. I just want to make it A. And I do want the border around it. So we can just go to annotate, detail line, and we can do thin lines, and we can just draw the triangle around it. There's lots of other ways to do it. I probably wouldn't normally do it this way, but for this, it's going to get us where we need to be, and it's pretty easy without having to make a new family or make an annotation family. So let's select both of those, and well, we'll just leave it at that. I'm going to make these 4 lines into a group. By going up here and create group on the modify tab. And I'll just put a wall tag diamond. And so that basically makes it into a block. And now we've got our first wall type. The other wall types that we have here. And so I'm just going to copy this up for our next wall type. And we'll call it B. And this is our 3.5 inch or 2x4 wood stud wall. So Let's go tag it in our view. If you don't have these walls, this would be a good time to create it. Right now, I've used interior walls are all 2x4. So I just duplicated it. I designated it as interior, 2x4 wood stud, 1/2 inch chipboard on either side, 3.5 inch for the thickness of the stud. And so that should be your interior wall type for the majority of it. So, oops, I don't want to edit the profile, but I do want to edit the type again. And back before where we had the type mark, let's make that B and hit OK. Now, if we tag any of these walls, that is that interior wall, it'll show up with the B. Now, if you wanted to get real fancy, I have these little bump outs where, and actually we'll do that just so we have another wall type. I'm going to take these two wall types. Right now I'm using the B wall type, but that isn't really correct because you're not going to put chipboard on the inside of here. So I'm going to take these two wall types. Let's see, finish face exterior. This one needs to be flipped because you can see that the location line exterior is on the inside here. So I'm going to do wall center line. I'm going to hit the little toggle, and then I'll go finish face exterior. I'm going to right click, or I'm going to select both of these and edit type and duplicate. And I'm going to call it 2x4 wood stud. Let's call it one layer, and I'll abbreviate layer LYR, and GWB for gypsum wallboard. I'm going to edit the structure. I'm going to delete the interior side chipboard so that there's only one layer on the outside. See? Theoretically, this wall would also need to be that wall type. So we can actually use the split command. So if you go to modify, and we'll do split element, we'll split that element. I'm going to trim corner with this wall. I'm going to select this one. I'm going to make it center line so that I can flip it. Put it back to finish face exterior. Because the exterior is only in reference to just the sides of the wall. It doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be on the exterior of the building. It just means that this is, they're considering the exterior side. So if you're in a room, this would be the exterior, and this inside of this little void space would be your interior. So I'm going to make that 2x4 wood stud with one layer of gyp. I'm going to right click on this node and tell it to disallow join so that I can trim extend to this side and it won't try to join with that wall. And so the reason I have this here is likely for the plumbing, because obviously you've got to have drain and shower head and knobs and everything that go in there. So typically your plumbing walls will want to be 6 inches or greater. And so I'm going to make this plumbing wall back here. This is actually going to be another wall type. Delete, hit TG for tag, or come up here, tag by category, and make that horizontal. And for this one, we will call it, let's call it wall type D, because we'll make this furring wall. We'll make that wall type C. Let's do that right now. We'll go edit type, select the wall, edit type. Under type mark towards the bottom, we'll call it C. Hit OK. And take these C-type walls. and this 6-inch wall. I'll have to look into this more. It might need to even be bigger, but I think 6 inches for the this toilet wall should be just fine. So we'll edit that type. We'll go to type mark at the bottom, make that wall type D. And so now we can come through, and I think we should have all the different wall types that I've created labeled. And now we'll just need to make sure and add wall types for all of these. So we can go through tag. I might move this tag to this side to indicate that this whole line of wall is this D type wall. This is a B type wall. B. So yeah, now you can go through pretty easily. In CAD, a lot of times you'd have to do this stuff manually, so Revit makes it much easier. If you don't have interior walls, this is a good time to start getting your interior walls squared away so that you can start making your wall types. I'm going to change this wall type to the one layer. And then actually I'm going to do, no, I'll leave it as the same. That's a D type wall, another B, and a D type wall. Alrighty, so here's all our walls dimensioned and with wall tags. I come back over here. I can copy off some of this information. So I'm going to copy up 1/2-inch chipboard and 2x6 at 16 inches on center. Copy. Now, there's several ways to do these wall types. As I was doing some research this week, I was actually having a hard time finding like any consistency between the projects that we have or online or anything about how people do the wall types. So I'm gonna think about it some more. Right now, this is the way that I want you to do it, but I might show you a different way. The the main reason I like it is because I don't like to draw anything manually because, like I showed you before, if we change this wall type and we have this wall type set correctly, they'll automatically update. So I do not like having to worry about things not, changing things in multiple places. The purpose of Revit is that it's smart and you should be able to have things be updating automatically. But that also begs the question too, all these things, everything I'm tagging are not automatic. So I can't tag walls in here. So I've got to do these kind of fake tags. And so that's kind of frustrating to me. And so I've got to figure out a good way to do this. I've got several ideas, but right now I think this is the best way to get our wall types tagged. Just got to be a graphical representation. Let's also add some text below it in that 1/4 inch. And just say exterior. And then I'm going to hold shift down, hit the home button, and then highlight all of them and give it an underline. I copy that up and call this interior. I'll move this other wall over here. It'll automatically snap to it so that they stay in line. That is our D type wall. So I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to double click on the text, hopefully, to try to get it changed. Hit D. I'm going to copy this one up as well. I'm going to make this that C type wall. Up here, 2x wood stud wall, 1 layer, which we made there. And I also needed a tag here. Well, let's do something real quick here to change these wall tags. I'm going to double click on this. Actually, I'm not going to double click. I'm going to select the wall tag. I'm going to edit family. So this will be our first family manipulation. I'm going to select the text that's in the family. I'm going to go to edit type. I'm going to change it from transparent to opaque. I'm going to give the leader border offset. I'm going to make that 3/64ths. And I'm going to hit OK. So now, and I'm going to load and close. And I do want to save changes because I want this to happen everywhere else. Let's see. So I'll do families. And I'll make a new category for it, annotations. And I'll just save it right under annotations. Overwrite it. Yes. And then you can see now it'll cut out any, if it's on top of any of the lines, it should still be visible because it'll be opaque instead of transparent. And there's some other things we could do, but I think for now, that should be fine. Now to center this so that this A is centered in the diamond, we have to do some interesting gymnastics, if I recall, because it won't just snap to the center there. We could eyeball it, but I'm going to actually make this into a group itself. And so what I'm going to do is select this text, and will it let me make it into a group? It will. Create group. And we'll just call it a text. And see how they have this YX in the middle of the groups? What I can do now is I'm going to go move this text from that grip there to the center of this. Hopefully. It's not going to let me do that, is it? That's all right. There's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm going to go to annotate, detail line, save, because you should always save when it tells you to. Just draw a line here in the middle. I'm going to delete that later. Click the A, move, get the center of that line. I'm going to ungroup this now. I can just grab that A and ungroup and delete this silly little line I drew. This is one of those things that always bugs me because it should be easier, you would think, in CAD, or to do this in Revit than it would be in CAD, but in CAD that would be a super easy thing to do. I'm going to copy these up, knowing that it's now centered. I can double click on that, or call it B. This will be wall type C, wall type C, and wall type D. And I've noted that they're exterior and then interior. I'm just going to add another leader. I'm going to move this up above here. And I'm going to add another leader by clicking this little green plus on the when I have the text selected. I'm actually going to move this grip down so I can be pointing at both sides. Man, I don't like the way that looks. But let's leave it like that. Should be clear enough that it's pointing to both sides. It's 1/2 inch chip. It's a 2x4. We'll copy these up. So I just hold the control button and left click to select both of those. Hit copy. Copy them up. And then now I need to remove this second leader line because we only have chipboard on one side. So we just click this remove last leader with the red minus on top of it. Make sure it's pointing at the chip. And then we can actually copy this one that we had previously. copy. And then we'll adjust our leaders. Make sure we're pointing at the right thing. And get these all cleaned up. Don't forget to change this as 2x6. And so now we have our wall types. It's pretty simple and basic. We did this interior house. We're not going to have a ton of wall types. Potentially we could have some more if we did tile in the bathroom. We'd want to have a layer of, instead of sheetrock, likely it would probably better to where you have the tile to have a cement board backer for water. This, I think it typically is what they do at tile walls. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the wall types. There's not a whole lot that we're going to need to add. This is what they need to show. Let's look at our actually reference material to kind of check to see what the example is here. Oh yes, let's do that. They have them in the vertical orientation, kind of. Yeah, they're showing the provide blocking here. So yeah, these are vertical wall type. Looks like they probably did drafting views for their wall types, which isn't bad, and I think it could be a good way to go. You lose some of the ability for them to automatically update if you make changes, but if you're not making too many changes, then it shouldn't be an issue. We could also show them in section view. I kind of like how they have the detail tags here, you know, for each wall type, whereas in ours we're just doing the A, B, and C designation. As long as they're readable, it should be fine. But let's put some insulation in here on ours. That's what we forgot. So if we go back into our legend view, up here at the top under annotate, let's just click insulation. And our exterior will have insulation. We can select this insulation that we just drew, and it is a instance parameter. We can change that to 5.5. And because you can't snap to these wall type legends, you just kind of have to eyeball it. And let's add a call out for insulation as well. So I'm going to go up to text, leader, and I'm going to put the alignment on this other side, and I'll call out, oops, I don't want that 1/4 inch text. I'm going to close, and then delete this layer. 1/4 inch text we use for this larger text. Change it to 330 seconds. And then we'll call it bat insulation. It might be mineral wool or something like that. Let's go look and see what they called it on their drawings. Sand attenuation bat insulation. Fancy. And so, yeah, let's call it that. That sounds fancier. I think typically you would give it a R value as well. Sound attenuation. 5.5 inch. Because it's our exterior 2x6 wall. Bat insulation. Let's see, is that what it was? Sound attenuation. Yeah. So to spell check, you select here, select the text. It doesn't automatically check spelling like AutoCAD, which is kind of annoying. But you can select the text and then choose to check spelling. And I horribly misspelled attenuation. And I need to set change, and it'll correct it for you. Yes, let's finish. So it's trying to change on center, which will ignore all. Oh yeah, it's just trying to save those letters. So yeah. But we make sure that the 5.5 inch is not on 2 lines like you saw it was there before. because it's 5 second line 1/2 inch batt insulation. You'd want it to be together. So it's 5.5 inch batt insulation. And oh, thank you. And the other thing too, we'd probably want, we'd want some of these other walls actually to have insulation in them if there want to be a sound wall. So let's see. I think they did that. So yeah, they have this interior partition they have a couple different interior partitions with sound attenuation. Yeah, so let's do that. Yeah, we can do that at a later time. Basically, we would just need to create, and actually we could do it this way. A lot of times, we do the insulation. It's on the annotate insulation. Place the insulation again. And let's copy this note up so we don't have to type it twice again and misspell attenuation. And we can actually just put a note. That just says batt insulation occurs in room and bathroom dividing walls. So we don't have to really make a second wall type for this wall. Basically, the contractor would say, oh, sound attenuation batt insulation. And I think batt has got a... Does batt have... Yeah, because it's abbreviated for batten, I think. Anyway, we'll add that. Make sure you add it back down here as well. Insulation. So we want this to be in all the walls. And here we just want it to be in room in dividing room and bath. Oh yeah, no, in bedroom and bathroom dividing walls. So any room that is basically the bathroom, it's dividing the bedrooms. So they'd put insulation here. They'd probably fill this entire wall with insulation. I'd want insulation in all of here's just for sound. I wouldn't put insulation here because it's a kitchen, but this is a big bedroom here, and I would want insulation in here. No insulation in this closet. Probably wouldn't put insulation in this wall, but maybe. This is a closet here, and this is the master bathroom. I'd want insulation in this wall as well. Insulation in the garage wall. Insulation here, but probably not here. So yeah, I think that note will take care of that. And I'm going to copy this up. I'm going to select this batten, do 5.5 inches. Just going to use the arrow keys to bump it down so it's close. And call that 5.5. And with the same note. I'm going to just space these up a little bit further, just to give them some room to breathe. And then, yeah, we'll call that good. I think that's it. So now, I think the last thing we'll need to do is add a note to our floor plan. We can start doing this, making a general notes plan here. Let's see, what's this note block? No. let's just use text for now since we don't have very many sheets. So back to annotate. Text. We don't want a leader, and we'll put this down here in the corner. Just drag a window and say general notes. Colon. I'm going to actually change the orientation. And I'm going to, up here at the top, we have some options. I'm going to give it number bullets. So I would say C A500 for wall types. I'm going to take this, I'm going to select this general note text that we just had. I'm going to edit the type. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to call it Arial Boxed. And gen notes, just so we know specifically that it's for the general notes. I'm going to make a box. I'm going to bring in this to 3/64 for the leader offset. I'm actually going to reduce the size of that tab, and you'll see it should change that indentation size so that it's less now. And then we have some room to add some other general notes, like let's add dimensions. Dimensions. And we'll tab in to get a second layer here, similar to like a Word document. Do dimensions colon exterior walls equal face of stud, and interior walls center line equal center line. We do that so that they know where our dimensions are going to. So if they look here, and so we could actually say openings actually we can do yeah, openings, stupid sausage fingers, equals center of opening. All right, so now we've got a couple general notes here, letting them know where to see what sheet to see the wall types, and where they can find that they can expect the dimensions to be to. What else? What else? That should be good, I think. So now they know we've tagged our walls. We've told them what the wall type should be. And we've put a general note on there so that they can know where to find the information about the wall type. So this should be pretty easy. This won't be the end for wall detailing. So now we kind of given them a general idea of what the wall is. But our details, when we go from our sections to our wall sections, we'll give them a lot more detail about exactly what this is. So anyway, that is all for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions or need any assistance.